What's up guys, Silver here with another Spartan Assault achievement guide. This time we're doing part 5 of 117, which is earn all gold stars in all operation missions. So this video will be covering Operation E. And one of the biggest tips I could give you in general if you're having trouble getting to a gold star threshold on any of the missions is to modify your loadouts before you head into a mission. You could change your primary weapon, secondary, armor ability, but the biggest thing I think you could do is add a damage booster. There is a score booster that increases the amount of points you get per kill and everything, but since you could kill enemies faster with the damage boost, you could actually string together a lot more sprees, and you could also finish levels a lot quicker. And those two factors will be able to increase your score more so than a simple score boost would be able to. I'm just going to have a standard loadout for all these missions, but if you're still having trouble even after using these strats, just throw on a damage booster. It should be able to help you out significantly. Also, just something to point out real quick, the gold star thresholds do vary a bit based on whichever version of the game you're playing. There are 4 different versions of this game. There's one for Xbox One, one for 360, one for Windows Phone, and one for Windows 8. So these guides will be based on Xbox One's version, but if you're playing a different version, just be aware you may need to shoot for a different gold star threshold. So we're going to start off quick here at E1. We're going to throw a grenade at this empty turret. Then we're going to shoot it with our SMGs as we move up, and then we're going to switch to our pistol and one-shot kill these grunts. And you could double smack this elite to kill him, or you could shoot him once and then smack him to finish him off. And you could smack this elite twice to kill him, or you could shoot him once and then smack him to finish him off. Then we're going to throw a grenade at the turret, and I wanted to throw a second grenade at that turret, but I ended up throwing it at one of those drones, which is fine. Then we're going to tear into the turret if you need to, if it's still alive, with SMGs, and then also finish off all the buggers after that with the SMGs. Grab the plasma grenades out of the crate where we were fighting the buggers. You could ignore the ones I just passed right there. And then we're going to cloak ourselves about where I did and make a beeline straight to this Wraith. And sometimes an elite will get in before you, but if that happens, just hijack it real quick. And we're going to use this Wraith to take out all the enemies in the area, including the ones that we passed on the way here. So go back to where you came from, take out that turret, take out all the enemies here. There's a bunch of drones, grunts, invisible elites with swords. So try to take out all those guys as quickly as you can so you could get a big multi-kill, hopefully get up to a killionaire. But we're going to go up here after clearing out all the enemies from where we came from. And you can see here that you could actually chain together the multi-kills from the enemies where we came from and also the enemies up here. So hopefully you could do that, and you could get a bunch of killionaires to finish off this little encounter here. And there are a handful of invisible sword-wielding elites in the area, so kind of run around the perimeter with your Wraith and kind of see if you could see anything, because there are a handful of them out there. So try to take them out before you bail out of this Wraith. But once you do take them out, we're going to go over here, and we're actually going to blow up our Wraith. We're going to grab the plasma grenades out of this crate here, throw a few at the Wraith to blow it up, because the Wraith is worth a bunch of points. And then we're going to run up here, and we're going to take out the enemies up here. There's a turret. There's a couple grunts. So we're going to nade the turret. We're going to shoot the grunts with our pistol, and we're going to shoot the elite once and melee them to finish them off. And then we're going to run up here to take these plasma grenades. You can see there's a ton of plasma grenades up here. There's more left over probably if you need some more later. We're going to go to that nav point and trigger the enemies to come in, the final wave of enemies. These two first enemies are blue elites, so you could shoot them a little bit and then smack them once to take them out real quick. The next one is an invisible sword-wielding elite, so I like to stick him as he comes through like that. The next one will be a red elite, so I'm going to stick him as well, and the next two are going to be blue elites again. So you can just shoot him a little bit to weaken him, and then just finish him off real quick with a melee. Or if he runs away like that, just continue shooting him. And the final enemy is a brute chieftain, and you want to try to nade him. I missed my nade, but my marine helped me out with a nade of his own, and then I finished him off with SMGs. But ideally, you want to try to nade him yourself a couple times. He'll probably move before that, but try to get one nade in there at least, and then finish him off with your guns. And that brought us to 131, and we only needed 105. So we're going to start off by running down here, grabbing these nades out of this crate. Melee a couple grunts if you want, not totally necessary. But we're going to grab some more grenades out of that crate, and then we're going to move down here to this weak ghost. And you can see we almost got killed by that suicide grunt, and then we almost drove straight into a Wraith mortar, or whatever that is. There's some kind of turret shooting plasma, bombarding the whole lower section of this map. So you want to stay up here. Once you get up here, you are totally safe from the bombardment of plasma. It never shoots up here. It only shoots down at the lower part, so you're totally good from that point of view. And we're just going to continue firing downrange, and all the enemies spawn from down there where we got the ghost. So you want to just kind of continue firing, even though you can't see where your bullets are hitting. You can still connect with a bunch of enemies coming up and running basically straight at you. So hopefully you could take out a lot of them. The majority of them you'll be able to take out without even seeing them. And the only way you know they existed is because your score keeps going up. But that's pretty much what we're going to be doing for the next 3 minutes. You can see there's a countdown timer. This mission, you basically have to hold out while your engineer buddy up top fixes that phantom so you can escape on it. And we're just going to continue firing. There's 2 points where you want to keep firing. One is where I'm shooting right now, kind of down straight ahead to the right, kind of. And the enemies like to come from there, and they also like to come from over here on this side. So I like to shoot just past. If I could do it right here, if I could set it up. I see enemies over here on the other side, so I'm shooting over there right now. But I like to shoot down on the other side. If I don't see anybody, I like to shoot right here, right to the right, or to the left, rather, of that barricade. There's that Covenant barricade there, and I like to shoot right to the side of it because that's where a lot of enemies like to just walk up straight at you in a straight line, so it's easy to take out a lot real quick. And then the other side, I don't usually pay attention to unless I could actually see people over there. The things that you want to watch out for are plasma grenades, so if you ever see any enemy winding up with a plasma grenade, you want to make sure that you back up, or really you just want to maintain the ability to dodge in any direction. So you can see I'm kind of not really positioning myself where I'm up against a wall or I'm like backed up against something, so I'm not really backing myself into a corner here. I could avoid fire or grenades in any direction, but really you just want to keep your options open. And you can see my best option there was to actually dodge forward, so I did that, and then I came back, and my health is getting fairly low just from random shots I'm getting from the elites and grunts and everything. So you want to keep an eye on that for sure, especially once it starts getting closer to 0, the countdown timer. So we're going to keep firing downrange. Again, I like to shoot to the side of that barricade because that's exactly where they come from when they're coming from that side. And then you have a little bit more time to react to enemies coming from your left side, so that's why I focus on the enemies more towards my right. They come on the screen, and just from the layout of the screen, we're in a widescreen world here, people. Enemies that come from below you, or more below you, or above you, when they appear, they're actually a lot closer to you than enemies that appear from the left or the right, just from the nature of widescreen. So that's why I focus more on the enemies coming from the bottom of the screen more so than the enemies coming from the right side of the screen, or at least more towards the right, since they're both kind of coming from below-ish. But we got less than a minute to go here. My ghost is very weak. I should probably bail on it at this point, but I feel good because I have a big multi-kill going on big enemies. So the multi-kill is great with grunts and jackals, but if you have a multi-kill with elites and brute chieftains, it's even better. So that's what we're doing here. So I'm feeling great about it. I'm staying a little too long. I'm at risk of taking mass fire all of a sudden and just dying. I have no health in my ghost right there at the end there. So I bailed, panicking, because I'm like, there's no health in this thing. If I get one needle shot in this thing, it's going to blow up. But once I do bail out and I have to fight on foot, I like to just tear into them with my guns. But also you can see I saved my fire bombs. I never used them from the start of the mission. And those fire bombs are great at A, killing anybody you hit with it, but also they form a nice barrier so enemies can't move through that section. So you could use it to kind of form a wall that the enemies have to either go around, or which obviously costs them time. And that's really what we're focusing on here, is wasting as much of their time as possible. But also keep in mind you could delay the enemy's progress with regular grenades as well. Obviously, it doesn't last as long as a firebomb, but it definitely saves you some seconds. If there's a plasma grenade on the ground between you and the enemy could either stay there and delay his progress, or he could walk over the grenade and die. So it's his choice. Either way, we're burning time. But you can see here we got 241 and we only needed 135. So on to the next one, E3. We're going to start by running up to the Wraith right here. We're going to cloak ourselves right about now with our default armor ability, and we're going to get in the Wraith and just stay in the Wraith the entire game. So we're just going to use it. I like to try to just use the plasma turret on the front because it kills enemies more slowly. So enemies have a chance to respawn and have reinforcements come in the map, and that way you can maintain a multi-kill for a longer duration. If you just blow up all the enemies all at once, you'll have a period of time where the enemies are respawning. So you may not be able to chain together as many kills. That's why you could see I'm predominantly using just the plasma turret on the front for now. And then I will chip in with the mortar eventually, but for the beginning part, you definitely just want to stick with this plasma turret on the front, the secondary weapon. So that's what we're doing here. The primary places where the enemies will spawn in are at this turret, this mega turret. There's a little shield door there you can see, and a little ramp that comes down to where we are. And the grunt just came through there, so we're going to tear into him. And then also, they like to come from above as well. There's a big shield door up here where we got the Wraith. You can see there's a bunch of enemies spawning in from up there. So you want to kind of keep an eye on your radar to see where they're coming in from, so you could turn around and react to where they're coming from, obviously. You don't want to be taken unawares from behind or anything. But you can see there's a bunch of enemies down here that we kind of skipped. We kind of just avoided them and went straight to the Wraith. This will probably get you more points, and it's just easier, basically. You could start off by just killing all those people down there on foot real quick, but it's easier just to get the Wraith immediately and just start tearing into these guys. It will easily get you the gold medal, so no reason to make it any more difficult than it needs to be to get a possibly a higher score or a world record or something. We're not trying to get you to the top of the leaderboard here. We're just getting you the gold stars. So you want to kind of go down here occasionally to see if any of these enemies from down below have moved within range of your Wraith. This is as far or as close as you could get to the enemies down here. So down here, the enemies that you want to try to kill are the jackals. There's like 5 or 6 jackals down here you want to kill. And also there's an invisible elite, and he snuck up on the front of my wraith just then and stabbed me in the nose a couple times. But luckily I have a ton of health in this thing, and he does not have that much health, and I have infinite ammo. So we could play that game if you want to. Elite guy. And also there's a brute chieftain down here, and he does come within range of that wraith there, but I decided I would just kind of close the gap myself and throw a couple nades at him real quick. And worst case scenario, if I don't kill him quickly, he'll just start chasing me, so I could just lead him back to my wraith. I'll hop in my wraith and I'll take him out that way. So, and then once all the enemies have been killed on the map, there will be 2 more enemies coming in the final wave. They are 2 brute chieftains, one coming in from that giant turret and one coming in from the big shield door at the top of the map. And that's it for that one. We got 214 and we only needed 140. So on to the next one, E4. This one we're going to spend a lot of time in a wraith as well, but to start we are on foot. We're going to run up here, melee a grunt or 2 if he's in your way, but we immediately want to run to this ghost because sometimes an elite will make a beeline to this ghost and hop in it right away. But you can see he made no effort this time, so that's fine with us. We're going to run over here and kill him, and we're going to go down here and kill these grunts we ran past in the beginning. And you can see that I also exchanged my armor ability right next to where the ghost was parked. There's an armor ability sitting on the ground there. It's active camo. So I switched out my hologram for active camo, and we're going to use that right about now to hijack this wraith. And as promised, we're going to spend the majority of the rest of the mission in a wraith, possibly this wraith. If it gets too weak, you could always change it out for another one because there's a bunch in this mission. We're going to take out all the enemies in this area, including the first of 6 gold elites, Merg Val's little cronies, running around the map here. So once you kill those 6 elites, the mission ends. So we want to move along the map, killing those guys as we kill everything else. So there's some ghosts here. We could easily take those guys out. And we'll move up to the right here to start. There's going to be a wraith coming in up here, and also the second of 6 elites over here. Second of the 6 gold elites. There's a bunch of elites, but the gold ones are what we're focusing on here. So take him out. That's 2 of 6 down. There's also an empty ghost, and also a ghost spawns in from the shield door behind you here, and also there's a ghost from the top that comes in as well. So be aware of those guys. And also there's a handful of buggers that may be flying at you. We killed 2 right there. They're coming from over here. They come over the cliffside, so we're going to go over here. There's the 3rd gold elite over here, along with another red elite, a bunch of grunts, one being in a shade turret, and a bunch of buggers as promised. So we're going to take out all the enemies that are on foot at first. So the grunts and the elites, and then we'll focus on the buggers after that, because there's a ton of buggers. So we want to focus on all the enemies on foot, and then we could focus on all these guys coming over the edge of the cliff. And it's really easy once you just isolate these buggers, because as you can see, it's really easy to take out all these buggers as they spawn in. So just kind of park your wraith on the cliffside, and they'll just run into you and literally splatter themselves on your windshield. So an appropriate behavior, I guess, for buggers. But we're going to move on. You can see there's a giant pile of them right there, all dying in the same spot as they spawn in. But we're going to move up here now, and there's going to be a couple ghosts. There's going to be a wraith, the 4th gold elite, a shade. But we're just going to rip through these guys easily because we're in a wraith, let's be honest. We're about halfway through this little group of enemies, and keep in mind the health of your wraith, because as I mentioned earlier in the mission, you could always just hop out and get in another wraith because there's a bunch throughout the mission, and you have active camo, remember. So if you ever need to hijack a wraith, you could just bail out of yours and then cloak yourself and easily walk up and hijack the wraith. You can see I have very low health at this point, but we're pretty much done with the section that we're going to be in a wraith. I'm about to bail out in a hot second, so I'm just going to stick with this one. Going to move forward. There's a handful of enemies, some elites, some grunts. There's going to be some buggers that spawn in from the holes in the ground here. So take those guys out, and then we'll just bail out. And you want to turn around and take out your wraith that you're just in, because it is worth a lot of points. And then we'll move forward. There's a crate of grenades up here. So there's 2 more gold elites, and they're both at the end here. So I was going to cloak myself, run up to one, and then sneakily stick them or throw a frag grenade at them. Either way, just nade them. And then run back, recharge my cloaking, then cloak myself again and get the other one. So I did that for the first one, but then the second one actually just chased me, so I just chucked a grenade at him as well and took him out easily enough. We have plenty of points at this point, so it doesn't really matter that we didn't kill all the remaining enemies in that area because we had enough score already, so we didn't need to increase it. We needed 200. We got 292. Moving on to the last mission, we are going to start in with our brute shot. It is a one-hit kill with this brute shot, and you might be able to kill a couple enemies at once with it if they're close enough, like right there. But it does have a slow rate of fire, so you have to wait a little bit in between shots. But it's easy enough to take out these guys with one hit. We're going to exchange our brute shot for a needler, and then we're going to grab these plasma grenades on the side. We are going to switch to our frags and chuck a frag grenade over there to take out that entire group of enemies all at once. and then a second group of enemies will come through, and there's actually 3 elites. It looks like only 1 elite is coming through, but they're all on top of each other, so throw another frag that will kill all of those guys. Move to the side of this shield door and let this guy pass, and we could shoot him in the back with the needler as he comes through to get a good amount of damage on him before he even starts firing at us. And we're really just going to focus on him. He's the only enemy in the area at this point, so we're just going to tear into him with these needles. His health will go down to 0, and then we're going to kind of stay in the general area because he won't continue on his animation without us being close to him. He wants us to be here to see. He wants us to witness the greatness of him splitting up into 4 different holograms. I guess 3 different holograms, with one of the 4 being the real deal. So you don't want to get too distracted by the jackals and have them lead you away, because you want to try to kill this elite as quickly as possible. But for the jackals that do come in the area, obviously we want to kill them to get our score up. But we can see this guy is done with his dramatic revival, and we are going to move in and take him out as quickly as possible. He has another full health bar. We're going to take that down. He has swords this time instead of an overcharged plasma pistol. So something to be aware of. If he starts charging you, just back up while you're shooting him. And also, remember you have sprint. So if he ever gets too close to you, you could just sprint away and get some distance on him before you turn around and start firing at him again. But there's some jackals in the area, so we're going to take them out. These turrets aren't too much of an issue. You're pretty safe when you're up here. You can see there's barricades surrounding me, so they're not going to shoot at me at this point. But feel free to use grenades against the jackals because they do drop a good amount. And obviously they all use needlers, so grab some ammo when you can whenever you kill any of them. But here's the elite's final form. He has a hard light shield in front of him, so it's hard to get shots in on him. So you could just throw 3 grenades at him. So you do want to save 3 grenades for just him specifically. So you can take him out quickly and easily. Mop up the remaining jackals in the area for some extra points as the elite is falling over, because he does take a while to fall over. He's being dramatic. And once you've quickly cleared out the jackals, you can just run up behind him, grab the pistol, and it will go into this animation of you grabbing the pistol and shooting him in the head to kill him off. And that is the end of the mission, and you can see here we barely got over the gold star threshold. It's tough to do. There's not a lot of wiggle room. You want to get a solid combination of efficiently taking out those enemies to start so you get all those multi-kills, killing the elite quickly so you get a decent time bonus, and then also taking out a handful of jackals as well during that process. But this may be one of those missions where you want to throw on a score booster to increase your base score for all the kills you're getting. And since we're on mission E5, I'll assume you have enough XP to do so. But if not, just play through some missions again to get some stars, to get some XP, so you'll be able to throw on a score booster and play through this mission again and get that gold star. So that's all for this one, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found that video helpful, be sure to click on the scorpion icon to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. You can also check out some related guides by clicking on the videos on screen, and you can find links in the description for other social media links of mine. Stay tuned for more Halo guides, and I'll see you in the next one.